Not everyone deserves access to you. And I say this because it is so important to have the right people around you. And you will know the difference. You will feel the difference. And you will understand how important this is when you go through a season of life where people are just taking from you. And you have to be able to be around people that are pouring into you, that support you, that understand your vision, that want you to accomplish your dreams, and vice versa. And you can collaborate with people, and you can be inspired by your friends around you, and you can motivate each other to get to that next level.
Once you reach a certain age in your life or a certain level of maturity, you should not be picking and choosing your friends based upon surface material things such as what they wear, what they drive, where they live, what type of money they make, what type of clout or popularity they have. We are not in high school anymore. Who gives a fuck? I wouldn't care if they said that you were the lamest, corniest person around. Are you going to be a friend when I need a friend? If I tell you I'm struggling with depression, are you going to actually take the time to figure out what depression is, what it looks like? If I need to vent to you, are you going to actually listen to me and make me feel seen and heard? Or are you just listening and making it seem as if you really care what I'm talking about just so you can have something to talk about later in your other friend circle? Those type of fucking things matter. Imagine being in a friend circle where everyone has to be perfect. Everyone's life has to be together. Yeah, at that time, maybe your life is together, so maybe all y'all vibe and y'all cool. But what if something happens to where you fall off? You fall into depression. Something happens. You ashamed to talk to these friends about what you're going through because you're scared that they're going to judge you or they're going to cast you out from the group. I don't need them type of people around me. I might be up one day and I might be down the next. I need you there through both and not just pretending to be there for ulterior motives that you may have. Yeah, all that shit matters. You got to start looking at stuff in the long term. Because some people just only want to fuck with you when you're at a certain level or you're at a certain status. That shouldn't even be a reason to be friends with somebody if that's the only reason you're friends with them. I'm just saying.
You can be friends with people for years, and it can take years for you to realize they were never your friend. Time doesn't equal loyalty. Just because someone's around, it doesn't mean they've ever truly had your back. Sometimes it takes years to see their true colors. And when you do, you realize they were only keeping you close for their own benefit.
Doing this one thing will prevent a lot of conflicts in your friendships. And that one thing is commit to reducing the ambiguity as much as possible. Here's what I mean. If something's ambiguous, it means it's unclear. It's open to multiple interpretations. But friendship is the most ambiguous relationship you have. If you're in a romantic relationship, there's a lot of things we don't have to talk about. We just know that these are the terms of being together. We know that I'm going to be your emergency contact. I know that I'm not supposed to go on dates with other people traditionally. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know that we probably contact each other every day or every other day, obviously, because we're like together. Obviously, like there are so many terms that are just understood or that make up like the dynamics of a standard romantic relationship. Same thing with a business relationship. As an employee, I kind of know what's expected as an employee, what you're supposed to do, what you're not, what the expectations are. But for friendship, sometimes we don't even know if we are friends. Like with a new person, right? Like, are we friends? Are we not? What's normal communication? What's not? What did you mean by that comment? And what does that mean for us? Do you expect that I'll do this for your birthday? Or is it like kind of expected that I won't? Because for me, this is normal in friendship, but for you, you expect this. Your job should be to reduce the ambiguity as much as possible. You'll feel closer. You'll feel more on the same page. I promise you. Because a lot of them end prematurely, mostly due to ambiguity. You assume she meant this by it. You assume that she knows that friends are supposed to do this. But for her, she really doesn't think that's something that you're entitled to in friendship. If you say, I'm going to commit to looking for moments of ambiguity and having the courage to clarify them, I'm telling you, your friendships will look totally different.
I would rather have no friends than bad friends, and I say that as someone who has had both. What no one warns you about is how impactful negative people actually are. Surrounding yourself with the wrong people who do not want to see you win, will cost you more than you can even comprehend, I promise. And the scary part is it's not always black and white, right? It's not always like good people versus bad. You may think that these are your people until you find your real people, and then you'll realize how wrong you were and how those are feelings that you never needed to feel in a friendship. Realize how small you were making yourself. You'll realize how drained you were. Real friends fill you up, they don't drain you. I keep my circle small, and it is one of the best decisions I've ever made. So if you have to worry about being the topic of conversation among friends when you get up and leave a table, time to find a new one.
They say that you become like the 5 people you spend the most time around, but what they don't say is that you think about yourself the way that the 5 people you spend the most time with think about you. I used to surround myself with people that thought that I was really dumb. I started to believe that about myself. I really held that truth about myself, which is crazy because I'm smart, in fact. But the people I surrounded myself with did not think that, and they would make jokes about it, and I adopted that as my truth. So it's not just you become like them, you start to think about yourself the way that they think about you.
I just want to say shout out to friends who understand the quiet periods that you have in your life. Like, I've got friends where I'll speak to them every single day. My best friends that I've known for years, I'll speak to them every single day. Like, well, there's periods where we're so close, and then there's periods where I won't even speak to them for a month.
Yeah.
Or even 2 months sometimes, because we just go our own ways, and then we reconnect again as if nothing even happened. We don't even question it. We don't even care.
Because they're not paranoid and they're not threatened by your friendship, and they don't go, oh, what happened? Are you not talking to me? Or, like, they've got no ego.
Yeah, exactly. Because we get it. We're adults. We get that life happens. So, you know, we've got kids, we've got the work, and then we naturally just go back to each other.
My biggest piece of advice for navigating adult friendships and actually building meaningful connections with people platonically in your adulthood is to pour into those who pour into you. I recently saw another creator talk about how we actually should be keeping score of those who show up for us and those who don't, and not in a transactional tit for tat, you do this for me, I do this for you type of way, but more from an understanding of adult friendships are 90% effort. You could be best friends on paper, compatible, have the same sense of humor, you feel comfortable around each other, you instantly click, yada yada, but if both people are not putting in effort, where's the friendship? We're not in grade school anymore, we're not just gonna see each other on the playground or in class, or our mommies set up a play date for us. Like, every single person has a busy life. Everybody's got their own schedules, they got work, they have a partner, they have this, that, and the third, they might have pets, they might have kids, you know? So it's like, we gotta navigate around each other's schedules, and whether that means physically showing up or showing that you care for them in another way, maybe sending a meaningful text or flowers on their birthday, or anything where that person feels loved, and knowing and understanding all of your friends' various love languages and all that, it is a full-time job. With that being said, I do think you can have love and care for somebody, but what they're willing and able to give in a friendship might be different than what you're able and willing to give in a friendship. And so somebody's always going to get their feelings hurt if it doesn't feel like both people are putting in the effort. And that doesn't mean that they're a bad person or a bad friend, and it doesn't mean that you're needy or you're too much or whatever. It just means you might not be compatible as friends. And that's the beauty of being an adult, is that you're not forced to be friends with everybody in your second grade class. You really can pick and choose the people around you. And as corny as it is, our friends are our chosen family. The people who I have in my life, I just turned 29 this weekend, and genuinely the people who I have in my life choose to be there every day, and I choose them. I think every single person deserves that. You deserve to have friends who want to be your friend the same way that you want to be theirs. So, just food for thought.
Science tells us that your brain syncs with the people you spend the most time with. There are actual neuroscience studies showing this. It's called neural synchrony. Studies found that when people spend repeated time together, especially friends, their brains start to synchronize. Not metaphorically, literally. Brain scans show synchronization in areas responsible for emotion, attention, empathy, and decision-making. That's why close friends start to think alike. They react the same way and even finish each other's sentences. But it doesn't just happen with good traits. Your brain doesn't filter for the good parts. Think of it like this. Put a clean sponge in dirty water and it absorbs what it's surrounded by. The same thing happens to your brain. Spend enough time around people who complain, are lazy, or negative, and your brain calibrates to that frequency. Science says choose your circle carefully because that is who and what you will become.
Here's your daily reminder to be selective with who you allow into your life. Not everyone is your friend. Not everyone is cheering for you. A lot of people are waiting for your downfall, and they are so happy to see you fail. They are so happy to see you struggling. So be very selective with who you choose to allow into your life and who you allow into your heart. The people we surround ourselves with on a day-to-day basis can determine so much that goes on for us in our life, in a good way and in a bad way. It is not mean to be selective.
It's important to have friends that can own up to things. And if they can't, and if they're that easily disturbed when you say something from a place of care, there's something going on with them and they don't have the right people around them to help them, to support them. It's like they think they're living this glamorous life, being super busy all the time, but it's like, but you're not present at all. You're not able to own up to anything. So like, do you really have the right people around you? You know? So, and I don't think of myself as someone who ever criticizes my friends. It's more like I care. And if I see that they've changed so much that, and we should all be allowed to change, but if they've changed so much that they don't call back when they say they will, or they don't account for something that they did that wasn't okay, then I have to question that friendship.
You know what the best thing for you to do is to change your circle. Don't get involved with people that are not at your level, ever. It's like putting poison into a bowl. Because at the end of the day, if they're not at your level and they get one inkling of jealousy, if they feel at any point that you're gonna leave or do something where you're gonna excel in life, they'll sabotage that. They will sabotage you. Not everybody's your friend just because they sit with you and pretend to be your friend. Some are there to use you. Some are there to actually be your friend. I can count maybe a handful on one hand, and that's actually okay with me. I choose that. So yeah, be very mindful of who is sitting with you at your table, who you call a friend, because not everybody's there to watch you grow, to actually have a friendship. They're just there to utilize whatever you have to offer. So remember that. Bye.
They say you are who you hang out with, and that is the truest truth. Look at your circle, the people you call friends. They are a mirror of you, whether you want to admit it or not. If your friends are lazy, gossiping, skipping the gym, drinking every weekend, cheating, or blaming the world for their problems, guess what? That is who you are becoming too if you're not already. Bad friends normalize bad behavior. They will hand you another drink when you're trying to quit. They will laugh when you say you have goals. They will call you different the second you start growing or changing. That is not a friend. That is dead weight. Now flip it. If your circle is disciplined, ambitious, chasing goals, working on themselves, you rise with them. A good friend calls you out on your holds you accountable, and pushes you harder. They clap for you when you win. They tell you the truth even when it hurts. And the truth is, you don't outgrow friends. You outgrow habits. And when you wake the heck up and level up, you will realize that the wrong people fall away. That is not betrayal. That is growth. So ask yourself, who are you really hanging out with? Do they reflect who you want to be or who you'll never become? Because you are who you hang out with, period. Drop a comment if you know that it's time to cut out that dead weight that you've been carrying for far too long.
How do you pick who's going to be in your inner circle?
I don't have a lot of friends, no, but I have a system. My time is more wealthier to me than cash right now.
Million.
And so who I spend it with and what I do is utmost importance everywhere. I want to be around women who are motivating me. Like I see her doing it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do it too. I want to be around people who are activating me. You know, they have the same values as me, because that to me will always up-level me in a group. And women want to be up-leveled instead of, oh, it's okay that you didn't work out, or, you know, it's like, no, get up, let's go. And those are the kind of friends, and it's hard to find that in like the lay world out there sometimes. But when I do find them, I hang on tight to those women, because they're the ones that call you and check on you, and they're the ones that also celebrate you or promote you, and they can hold space for your expansion because they're not in competition with you. It's the collaboration. It's not like having this, you're beating me. It's more like, how can I help you in this process?
You need to stop obsessing over what other people think. You need to let people misunderstand you. You need to let them judge you, let them gossip about you, let them not like you. You have no idea how much of your time and energy you are giving to other people's opinions. The moment you start saying, let them think what they want, let them gossip, let them do this, let them do that, you're going to get so much time back, and you're going to realize the biggest thing in your way is your fear of what other people think.
Here's how to choose better friends. Average people base their friendship off a shared past, whereas if you look at the most extraordinary people in life, they base their friendship off a shared future. So for example, if you have friends that like every time you're with them, you're talking about people and gossiping and sharing stories about when you're at the bar in college and all that, those aren't necessarily friends that are gonna get you to where you wanna go. But if you pursue people who are like-minded, they have a shared vision for their future that's similar to yours, those are the kind of friendships that are actually gonna advance you in life.
There's 3 types of people in your circle. First are your history friends. You shared experiences with them, but you've outgrown each other. You can catch up once a year and feel complete. Then you've got your comfort friends. These are the ones you grab drinks with to decompress. They're reliable, but they're not pushing you forward. But the third type, these are your catalyst friends. They challenge your thinking. They introduce you to new opportunities. And they make you uncomfortable, but in the best way possible. And here's what most people miss. You become the average of who you spend your time with. If your circle is full of complainers, you're going to start complaining. If they are full of excuses, you're going to find excuses. But if they are building empires, you're going to start thinking bigger. The most toxic people are not your enemies. They're the ones who are slowly poisoning your potential with their negativity. There's that friend who always finds problems with your ideas. There's that family member who reminds you why things won't work. They are not protecting you. They're just projecting their fears onto you. Here's what changed everything for me. I started treating my energy like it was currency. Remember this, some people are investments. They're going to multiply what you put in. But others are expenses. They drain you, and they give nothing back.
Just a reminder that happy people encourage you, attractive people compliment you, and successful people support you. And those who have nothing to offer will bring you down. And once you really understand that, you will stop taking certain things personally. Because people who feel secure, they don't get threatened by your growth. They don't compete with you. They do not try to dim your light. They clap, they share, they make space. But when someone constantly criticizes you or minimizes you or tries to humble you every time that you shine, that is not confidence talking. That is their insecurity. So try this. Instead of shrinking yourself to make others comfortable, pay attention to the pattern, because the right people will push you forward and the wrong ones are going to be the ones that try to hold you back. And always remember this, choose your circles very wisely.